Hello, everyone. How is everyone doing this fine Sunday? Thank you for being here if you are here live and spending some of your Sunday afternoon preparing for the trading week coming up. It should be a busy week, interesting week. We'll talk about a few things. Let's see, before we get there, thank you for being here, Ken. Been waiting for this live stream all day. Me too. And I agree. Anybody who's not subscribed to Discord should definitely subscribe. Best $10 you'll ever spend. if it's like it's a couple cups of coffee from Starbucks. So it's worth it. And if you learn one thing, it pays for itself. Could be 100 times over, 1,000 times over. Hey, Dave, and new and maybe somewhat seasoned traders don't know what they're missing here. I think everybody, I mean, I still learn stuff from people. I always learn stuff. So I think anybody can learn stuff unless I can learn stuff from other people and they can learn stuff from me. Good afternoon, Mike and company. And hello, Agent M14. You are very welcome. Thank you for being here. Again, it means a lot to me that people are spending their Sunday with me to help sort of get their head in the game and just not wake up Monday morning and go, okay, now what do I do? What do I do? I got to do some analysis or something. Or worst case, they don't even do analysis. They just wait till the market opens and then they try to make some money. By the way, if you're new here, please do consider subscribing, ringing the bell, and hitting the like button. You can see over here, there isn't much going on here with a lot of earnings next week. I will be watching Thursday, of course, Adobe. And after the close, I will be watching FedEx. That one will be interesting. And I'll probably peek at a couple of these other ones, but there's nothing really going on. So that's not what I'm watching to really cause problems. Oh, before we get into something, I want to pull up another graphic, and I put this on my own. I tweeted this out. This is from Crescent Cap. I can't even say it. Crescent Capital. Source was Bloomberg. Here's the breadth, and I am still very, very worried about this. You can see deteriorating breadth all the way, keeps going, keeps overall going lower. These are a percent of the members above their 200-day moving average in the Nasdaq. And here's the price of Nasdaq. So you have the price just going up overall, and you have the breadth going down. That's terrible breadth. You don't really want to see that in a fully healthy market. I've seen some other times. The last time the breadth was this getting this bad was back right before the huge .com correction. So just keep that in mind as we look at things. That doesn't mean you stop trading. Doesn't mean you forget your analysis. You don't just go into bearish mode, because what's still the trend? We got a warning shot. This is the S&P 500, by the way, and a move back up. And I got a stick. I mean, after we started getting this day, I got to be in bullish mode. Also, now keep in mind, please remember Wednesday, Fed Day. I mean, we're not going to hike rates. Okay, they're still on their taper. The most they're going to probably talk about, they're probably going to talk about inflation, and they're going to have to increase the speed of their taper. So what that's going to do to the market, I don't know. The market's in a fragile position with breadth being this narrow, but we have to trade with the trend, and the trend is still up. I mean, S&P, you're not at all-time highs, but you're pretty gosh darn close. Where did we close? 4703.50 we closed. Was that right? 4703.50. The high is 4740.50. So it's right there. What am I going to do? You just don't go out of the bed shorting everything or pulling off all your positions. What you can do, though, is know where your stops are and move your stops to appropriate levels going into especially Wednesday. Ken, is the breadth for Nasdaq only? That's the chart I had, but the breadth in the S&P isn't so hot either. So It's just when you get narrow and narrower breadth, you don't have broad market support in these indices. When you don't have broad market support and you have very narrow participation of strong stocks, it puts in a precarious situation. Why? Because if selling comes in and if those few strong stocks get hit, the market, you already have the broad market being not falling and being sort of weak, and then you get those strong stocks that have been holding it up and taking it back to highs start getting hit. You have a very disastrous situation for a large sell-off. So that's why I'm bringing that up. If tapering ends sooner than originally intended, won't we? Yeah, we'll see rate hikes sooner, but I don't know if they'll talk about the exact time frame for rate hikes. But as soon as the tapering's done, unless everything goes back down the toilet completely, we're going for rate hikes next year. They got to get them out of this. I mean, we're so far behind the inflation curve now. It's going to be a mess. It's going to be a longer term mess. But again, we got to trade the market with what is, and the market's still going up. And that's why I say know where your stops are. What I want to point out, S&P big picture real quick. Let's take the big picture because this, I know you know what it is. I know you know what I'm going to say. I'm going to say massive potential double top. It would need to close back below this low right here. The low from the last week of November 29th, the low 44.92. Just etch that into your memory in case we sell off. And I'm just going to get an idea where that would take us. Just an idea if we did trigger a massive double top. Oh, wow, look at that. By the way, I'm considering this isn't the move that started it. It's bigger than that. I mean, the move that started this massive doubles down there. So I don't care that these second and third targets are in these wicks. But look at that. That could potentially take you back in a pretty big hurry to around 42.50 area and the rising 50-week exponential moving average. So definitely going to keep an eye out for that if we start getting selling pressure in. Let's go through our short term. We had a nice strong update on Friday, especially the end of the day. You can see here, this was a horrible day to trade. This was a tough, brutal day to trade until the very end. So that's just something till the very end. You can see it was only it was only a bullish mode just very early in the morning. This is a 5-minute chart, and then could not sustain bullish mode whatsoever, retesting that and didn't get back above it till 2:30 Central Time. Keep in mind, I'm in Chicago, so I do everything off of Central Time. So that was a nice little run at the end of the day. Let's just take a look at bullish mode. I'm bumping that up a hair. We're going just right around 46.94. So even on a pullback, 46.94, I'll be in bullish mode. What are we watching for? Gonna be watching the highs first off from the 8th at 47.12, but that's just minor. Then I'm really focused on 47.22. If we get through that, there's not much stopping. Let's just jump back that hour. There's really not much stopping. You see here, there's very few stopping points above this 47.22 area. We have 47.32. So you can put that down in your levels. So if you get above 47.12, next target is 47.22, 47.32, 47.40, and then we go into the daily key levels above 47.40, which is also a harmonic projection. So this harmonic projection is from the lows on the 3rd of September to this pausing bar on the 8th of December. And that gives 47.39.50, it looks like. And we're at 47.40.50. So that's harmonic and the recent high. So do not ignore that. That's a great area for especially moving up stops. And then our next cluster is 47.67 to 47.71 is the next major area up higher. We also got to go through our pullback levels. Let me see here. Let me just take a look. It was a mess on Friday. I'm still going to leave this level the same. So if we get below that 46.94 area, you can watch some minor support right in here, right around 46.88 with the rising 4-hour rotation zone. But you drop below there, then I'm just looking at 46.67 again. There's not that much separation yet in the 4-hour rotation zone. Then I'm below that 46.41, 46.21. You get below 46.21, that is not good. 46.21 would be here and take you back below the daily rotation zone. You get a close below that, that's really not good. We got to close back below that. That would wipe out this whole bullish move from last week. And then I'd be keying off of lower prices. Definitely then watching right around 45.90. So that is key. So that's 46.41. Pay attention to that with the bottom of the daily rotation zone if we get a pullback. But we start breaking down below Friday's lows. That's a warning shot, especially if we start doing it before Wednesday. Then I'm going to be in super cautionary mode because we've started to break down even before the Fed meeting. Let's see. What those sudden non-divergent signals reversals can be a doozy. Am I the only ones who get somewhat frustrated with those at times? I think we all get frustrated. It's not really frustrated. We can get, they can jump on you pretty quick when you don't see things coming. But that's why we do our prep. See, I used to get more aggravated when I didn't spend as much time doing my prep because I didn't have a plan laid out. Okay, I didn't have a clear plan laid out. But when I do my prep, even if I know where my levels are to the downside, I know if we start breaking below some of these key areas, all right, we're going lower. Let me get out, let me put on my bear hat and let's go to town in bear mode. But if you don't do your prep, then you can get caught off guard. And whether it's a divergence or something else, I mean, now you keep an eye. I am keeping an eye. You brought up divergences. Even if we start poking above this 47.12 in tomorrow and Tuesday, we might have a really nice divergence setting up. Yeah, but we're not even overbought on the daily. So that would just be the first little warning sign. And also keep in mind, we did come off, we had the nice divergence back there, and we had a sell-off. If we start getting up here again and make new highs, we might not exceed the RSI highs from back in November, and that would just be a bigger macro divergence and also might be setting up for a weekly divergence, just to touch on those divergence aspects. Thank you for the super chat, Kalani. Thank you again. That helps support the channel. Really, really appreciate it. Because, YouTube's really frustrating me in the fact that my videos keep getting, limited monetization for, and I like doing these live streams. I think it helps people with asking questions and everything else. But actually, my videos keep getting demonetized or limited monetized, and I have to go to YouTube. Then they say, okay, well, all right, this goes back to full monetization like 3 or 4 days later. Well, what good is this video going to be at full monetization if somebody's watching it Thursday? Who's going to watch this video like Wednesday night or Thursday? Unless they're going back to see what we said about something. Nobody is. It's like the first 24 hours, and they keep demonetizing it. It's just a friggin' joke. So those super chats really do help. Just remind me, let's get through the markets, and then we'll take a look at that. Nasdaq, it's still under. This one's so far off its highs. It hasn't even gotten above the 12.5% pullback harmonic. The price action, you can see the Nasdaq's it's still the cold porridge. It's still cold porridge here. We had an okay day on Friday, but an inside day, coming down to the bottom of the rotation zone, trying to rotate back up. It's still weak sauce. Nasdaq weak sauce. I'm just seeing, I'm bumping this level down a bit. We're going pretty much down to above. If it stays above about 16,285 area, close enough. 16,285, I'm staying in bullish mode for tomorrow, for Monday. Let's take a look at some key levels. I'm just checking out things. So again, yeah, this is just weak, but sitting right at the 12.5% harmonic from this last little rundown. Above there, you don't have that much. Above there, I mean, besides we could do a little harmonic projection. Let's get our forward harmonics on here. So if you want minor levels, I'd be keying off of about 16,354, 16,380. Those would be the only minor levels. And then I'm back all the way up to here, about 16,410. Above 16,410, just clean this up. Yeah, 16,410, do not ignore. See, it's a pretty big resistance shelf. Maybe I'll just move this slightly higher. Yeah, I'm going to 16,418. That's a nice little fit and confirmed. It's with these a few candle bodies over here, and then it's confirmed by these highs. So I'd use that target above 16,380, 16,418. You might have some minor at 16,400, but really the magnet price is going to be 16,418. Above there, now that's when it gets interesting. You start getting closes above 16,418, and look what we have here. I think I've talked about this kind of move a fair amount. We call this a clear path. Why? Because there's not a lot of stopping points right behind it. You see it just moved up here nicely, but then we just have a couple candles. And you don't have a lot of rotations. You don't have a lot of stopping points. So pay attention to that. I'm just looking at what it looks like on the 1 hour. On the 1 hour, see, look, even on the 1 hour, you have, 16. You got this little shelf in here. So, but above this area, especially above 16,575 area, there's nothing. So that's a really nice run up area. So keep that in mind. We start getting up. Let me get back to that 4 hour chart. We start getting up, 16 above. Can start watching above 16,418. Your one little stopping area is going to be right around that 16,511. You get above there. Then your 16,632 minor, and then 16,721. So there could get some upside momentum if we really get above 16,418. That's going to be a key area I'm making very specific notes of to watch for from a bullish perspective. From a bearish perspective, we can't hold this about 16, where am I? 285 area. My major support, first level major support, 16,176. We have a significant level. We have a harmonic there, and we have the starting to separate daily rotation zone. So that's my first key level. You take out that, I'm keying off of Thursday's low. Below Thursday's lows take us back below the rotation zone, and that's especially important for a closing basis. But intraday, then you don't have much down until about 16,000. I have 16,017. I'm just going 16,017 to 16,000 area. And then below that, I'm all the way back. If we start breaking below that, I'm back to about 15,860 in a hurry with the 50-day exponential. So that's what we had for the Nasdaq. Just so if I had to sum up two key things, not just for tomorrow, but for the first couple of days of these trading weeks, right down 16,418, you start getting closes above that level. We could get some decent upside momentum with some very few stopping points. And on a breakdown level, watch Thursday's low. Thursday's low of 16,120 is going to be very key. Dow. Let's see. Oh, we don't need that's actually, we got some good clusters there, so I'll leave those on. Uh, Dow. Dow tried to get a couple times poking above the bullish area, but just kept getting slammed down. I need this to really prove itself tomorrow. Uh, 35, what is that? 35,861. 35,861 is my bullish mode for tomorrow. Just seeing what we got here. So if we stay above there, I'm watching the highs back from the 8th, which was 35,926. Then above that, see, this is the opposite. You know how we talked about that clear path move? So what do you see here? See the difference between a clear path and look at all the stopping points here. Look at all this. That is the difference between trading into a clear path versus, it's trading into this chop and slop. So that's a great area. So all right, let's go back. See, this was a clear path move. You get moving into there, and then you just get this upside momentum. You had a little rotation, but then there's not many stopping points. So that's when you can get these momentum moves, which is what I was talking about with the Nasdaq. Back to the Dow, we get above this again, this 35,930 area. I'm just actually going to use a harmonic. Then I'm going with this, the retracement harmonic and the projection harmonic, 36,136. Because there's no other really strong levels in here. There's just a lot of potential smaller levels. But so I got to go with the harmonics, which is where they come in really handy. So I have a retracement harmonic from this retracement move and the projection harmonic. Then above there, I have some significance with this little key area. And we have a harmonics of about 36,324 to 36,346. So that's my next area. And then above there, we're to the highs. Above the highs, which, we have 36,454. Of next major cluster area is 36,761 to 36,829. On pullback levels, let's see. I'm just keying off of about this 35,627. You have the flat 200. You have this little support shelf and the bottom of the 4-hour rotation zone. You break below that. Then I'm going back to major cluster area about 35,400. First cross the rotation zone, significant level, and the 25% harmonic. We break below that. I'm just going to the harmonic cluster at 35,182. And then below that, I'm coming back to about 34,875 to 34,900. You don't really want it breaking below this 35,178 level, because that would not be good for the bullish position in the Dow. Looks like that could be setting up a double too. So we have a double also potential setup in the Dow. I forgot to look at the Nasdaq. Not quite yet. I can just tell. But if we do get a little push higher, we could have 3 potential doubles across the board. All right, let's see what we got for some stocks. Did the double bottom just trigger on cost? Cost Q. The double bottom on which time frame? This wouldn't be a double bottom, by the way. At least I don't see one on the daily basis. Or a four. And I'll tell you why it's not a double. Because it's not reversing a big enough move. Now this is a strong buy signal. This is a strong buy signal right there, and you had earnings come out, and we have, back to look at the harmonic. We poked right through it there, closed pretty much right back on it. This is a bullish move. I'd be targeting on a continued run on Monday or Tuesday, this 573 area. That's going to be a really strong area. Then above 573, let's just get an idea. Above 572, 573, remember there was a cluster there. Then you're looking at about 592. So that's your next areas up, but that was there was actually a buy signal here for me with this gap up. So that's where that stands. It's just this was not a double, but there's just another very bullish price action with earnings. Let's see, what do we got? Can you review SoFi? Seems like it's being rejected 1488 to 15. Don't know if I see more downside. SoFi, again, back to the daily rotation zone. Rotating down, it's got waning momentum. Waning momentum, and it could, on a close tomorrow above Friday's highs of 1587, would be a super aggressive buy signal. Why is it super aggressive? Because it's going against the daily rotation zone. You do have waning momentum, but this would be one you actually move up to stops really quickly on, and I'd be targeting the other side of the rotation zone to at least, if you take off full profits, fine, or you take off a chunk of it and raise stops again in case you get the further rotation back down. But it would need to prove itself for a buy signal, and that would be above Friday's high on a closing basis. Let's see if there's more. Other than that, you still got to trade with the trend. You have these potential doubles also. So let's take a look at that. Let me update this level because that's the pausing bar. If you get below 1450, I'd be coming down. First level would be about 1375. Then I'd be back down to about 1323 to 1356. There's major support down here, but I would not be trying to pick a bottom just yet. I'd wait for a trigger to the upside again above Friday's close, and then the next trigger would be, what's interesting, you might get a run up and even a pause here, and it could then trigger a potential double bottom. So you do have some potential bottoming signals. I just wouldn't front run it where it is now. Like if it started to come down here some more and I got a nice base down here, then that's where I consider doing a lower risk entry. But if it just sells off tomorrow and tests this 1450 and meanders down a bit, I'm not trying to pick a bottom in here yet. It would have to prove itself with a little strength. Now above this, if you get a close above 1717 on the daily basis, keep in mind it's still against the daily rotation zone. So it's slightly lower probability, but then you could see an easy run up to this 1850 area and this little resistance shelf. But this is the move it's reversing. It's not just reversing this one, it's reversing this whole move. Then you have 1916 and 1983. So if this thing can prove itself, first little thing would be close above Friday's high. The next thing would be a close above 717. Then you might be able to get a decent run up back into the $19 area. So I'd be keeping a close eye on this one. This could be, I'm actually going to set some alerts here. I'm going to set some alerts. Setting one there so we know if it's approaching those highs. And I am then setting another one right around these key levels to remind me to check to see what's going on. Just give me my ad alert. Right, I want it. We're just in front of that level, so it'll warn me. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on with that. We'll get to some things. Let's just TDOC has another potential double bottom. Let me take a look at that. TDOC Teledoc is. Not yet. Not low enough. It needs another little push down. It's not. That's Not a bottoming signal yet. Remind me, Ken, if you're on this, if you see T-Doc isn't one I watch a ton, but if you see this get down, especially around this 91.60 area, if we get a push lower, we'll see if it does qualify for a double. That at that point, it's still not low enough, so we can't use the double targets on that. Let's see what else we have. Thoughts on Peloton hitting 52-week lows on a daily basis? Nothing can go their way. Well, I still love my Peloton. I don't love the stock. I was watching again to see if we got a support shelf there, and it just broke that harmonic. Look at Please learn harmonics. They will make a difference in your trading. Because there wasn't, you come over here, I'm just seeing, there wasn't a lot that would have shown you that this was going to develop this nice sideways horizontal channel. But again, this is why you don't just try to grab bottoms against the daily rotation zone until it proves itself. It's still got some waning momentum. I get really interested. I'm just looking at the bigger picture here. It is getting very oversold. But we get down to about 35.80 to about 30, between 34 and about 35.80. I'm getting really interested in watching for a bottoming area then. Way oversold on the weekly. Some waning momentum. Especially if it got down here, you got a reversal, and then you got to move back above this little sloppy channel and above the daily rotation zone. We could see a nice little pop in that at some point. But this is one, again, I wouldn't try to get on a move before it showed me something. So that's what this is sit on my hands and keep an eye on it. Because it's just, it had its nice run up, and now it's just getting slammed. And earnings, they had a big miss on earnings. So I need a strong signal in there. You might take down here levels. If I got an aggressive buy signal, it might be worth something with a tight stop. Let's see. Please explain the concept of front running, which I've heard you and others mention. Okay. Let me see. Front running, meaning you can try to get in a position before a bigger thing has triggered. What was I looking at? SoFi? Was that what I was talking about? SoFi. Remember how I just mentioned I had an aggressive buy signal? Aggressive again because it's against the daily rotation zone, but you'd have to keep tight stops below 1450. Here's what. Let's say I got the aggressive buy signal to trigger, all right, on the close. Then what do I have here? See, because now I'm using another signal. I'm not just buying something, just hoping. I'm using an actual signal. This will be an actual buy signal for me on a %B pattern if it closes above here. Why do I call it front running? Because then, look, I'm going to try to hold this. I'm going to move up my stops, but I'm going to try to hold this and hope for the double to trigger. Why? Then I have a bigger pattern that's highly, have strong probabilities, but I'm already in a trade. So then I can roll it up into using these targets. So I got an earlier signal, and now I'm going to try to use it to front run this double trade. Okay? And that's different from just saying, this is what I don't want people. Let's say we did not have a potential buy signal above Friday's high on a closing basis. This wouldn't be something I'd just going, oh, it's Monday morning, I'm just going to decide to buy SoFi because it could run up and trigger this double. That's not smart. That's just playing a guessing game. Now, if you actually have another entry trigger and then it can be rolled into a bigger position, that's what I mean by front running. Other people, they talk about just, I'm going to front run this trade because it hasn't really triggered yet, but I'm hoping it will. Like, we got some momentum, so I'm just buying here when I don't really have a trigger. When I refer to it, I'm saying I am having another type of trade trigger, and then I'm going to hold it into a bigger pattern. What do you see on EXPE? A mess. What a mess this is. What a mess. You can I mean, look at that. And again, you had your harmonics. You had your harmonics right there. Dipping below, closing above, bouncing right off it, dipping below, closing above, and then you got the turnaround move. What am I seeing here? What? Let me see here. What am I seeing? I'm seeing this is a very this 200 I'd really be paying attention to. If you start getting close below that, you can even go to about 165. 165 is going to be key. You get a close below 165. That's a pretty decent area of significance. Then I'd watch for a return back down to about 155. Okay. You start it's not good if you get that close below 165. Then I'd be watching 155. Then I'd be watching. Let's shake this down to the 148 harmonic below that. If you break that low 153, 148 harmonic to the upside, if this can get a swing up, I don't have any other signal, but if we start getting back above about 172.50 on a closing basis, I'd watch for the remaining of the gap fill, and then the next target above there is right around 178. Yep, 177.30 to 178. Then you get above there, I'd use the 179.99, so 180, which is right near this top. So that's the upside and downside. For the bull case, right now it's sort of in no man's land. It ran up here. You had this prior support becoming resistance. You see it rejected there. Actually going to raise this a little. I'm actually going to about 173 area. Need to get it above 173 again. It was rejected off of this prior support becoming resistance pretty strongly, and now it's back to testing this prior resistance becoming support. So from the bullish case, I would not want to see a close below 165. That would not be good because it would wipe out. You're starting to wipe out this strong move up, and it got rejected even before it could get above this little shelf. Oh, let's see what else. RKLB. Rocket Lab. Don't trade it, but we can analyze it. You got your 200 here. You just bounced off of. That's a pretty strong line in the sand. You get below that. Let's look for a couple clusters here. Yep, there you go. So you get below 12 bucks. We're 1138, and then you got a major cluster here at this 1077 area, 1080 area. This is a pretty strong line in the sand. Right here, it's holding here on a closing basis. So your first warning shot to more downside is if you get a close below 1236, and then below 12, that would not be good. Then I'd be really watching around this 1083 area. You stay above 1236. I'm trying to see what That's the next area. I want to see a close above, for the bull case, above 1322. Above 1322, then I'd be targeting right around 1420. 1420, if you can get above 1420, you're into this huge congestion area. But there's not a strong case for me to get in. I don't think that's a potential double yet. Let me take a look. No, it's not. If it does come back down here and then you get a reversal signal and a close above the high on the 8th, you might have a potential double. Would reverse this move. That's the only signal I potentially have for a bullish case at this point. That was for Sean. Regarding Peloton and any stock with a basis tries to rally to the upside, what would you establish your low and high for daily or weekly harmonics? Oh boy, where would I mean, that's you use your major swing highs and swing lows. So like for Peloton, the major swing highs are back at the 14th of January from 21. The most recent pausing area, I still have it on here because we have a nice cluster down here. But once we break down, let's say we get now a major low down around here and we start getting a rally up, then that's the key area I'd use from low. I don't have any area to go from lows just yet. Because we don't have any, with this new low on Friday, we don't have another low. Before we made this new series of lows, this would have been your pausing area for any upside harmonics to use. Right now, you don't have anything else. Now, for the most recent swing, you're still on this swing. I'd still be using this swing. And your long swing, I'd be using this swing. Okay? So that's essentially, look for the most recent and the long-term highs and major lows. Those are the things you want to do. So front running is buying too early or recklessly without some sort of trigger. Again, I need a trigger. I don't front run a pattern because it might not ever trigger. If I have another trigger, then I can roll it into a bigger pattern. That's one thing. But if I don't have a trigger, I'm not just buying something because I think something's going to happen. Because that's just guessing. That's just, then why even have it? Then just buy. I mean, you're not following a system. Then you're not following any methodology. You're just saying, I want to buy it. And I'm hoping that it triggers something else. But that's not a way to trade. That is not a way to trade. Too late to get into Home Depot. Home Depot's in a really risky position for me up here. It is we just came off this 418.14 harmonic. I was actually going to update this. Yeah, okay. We got some serious waning momentum. It's still holding the rotation zone, but look how far you are on the weekly. Okay? This is way too high risk. Way overbought. You're getting divergences up here. This is not something I would touch right now for Home Depot. Don't like it. The last great move was this little break above this horizontal shelf with the earnings thing and then the run up. That's now, and then you had the only other thing was this return to your daily rotation zone. But now it's got your potential reward to the upside versus the risk to the downside is skewed to the risk. I'd be looking for other things and be interested on this on a pullback. Especially if we got a decent pullback again to some support, maybe even in the 375 area, and then I got a turnaround buy signal. That could be something that interests me. But right now it does not. It's not a double bottom on. Yeah, I think it's already went to the targets. It was one on the 4 hour. And that's, yeah, those targets are already hit. See how nicely that did too? Prior, I love these targets. I mean, even if that was a conservative, even if you went with the aggressive targets, well, you're still in the same vicinity. Look at that. Yeah, that was a little double that already went to full target. Uh, you want Luna Crypto Tesla, please? Go back and watch my thing from Friday. Nothing's changed since Friday. Uh, in a nutshell with Tesla, I mean, you're still with the rotation zone, still in bearish mode on the daily. It has to get above the eights highs to get me into bullish mode. Everything else is just short-term plays then on Tesla. Everything's just short-term because you still have the 4-hour rotation zone. Remember, we went up to the 4-hour rotation zone, rotated down, went up to the daily, rotated down. So it's got to do some work to get back above these highs on the 8th to put me in bullish mode besides just quick little intraday patterns. Uh, and I really shift to more bearish if we get a close of below 1,000. Why? Because we've tested 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tests of the 1,000 mark. If we get a close below 1,000, then I'm really shifting into much more short-term bearish. And again, if we have this massive double top on the weekly right here, and get a close below, it's already confirmed with this last week's price action to close below 978. 60 is a massive weekly trigger for me for further bearish price action. So 1 month Home Depot puts would be the lower risk play. I don't know if I mean, if it starts breaking down, if we start getting a Home Depot breaking down, because the puts are tricky because this thing can even just move sideways. See, it could even pull back and stay in this little area and just burn your put premium. But you start getting a move below 400, that might be good for a quick little bear spread. I'd like that. I wouldn't necessarily do it up here because if it just drifts sideways or just slightly drifts up, this wouldn't be an area I'd want to do anything long term in. But a short term play for me is if you get below 400 again with a quick little Y you get here, and then I'm watching for the return down into the weekly rotation zone. So I could see a little bear put spread or bear call spread. You know, if you wanted to take in the credit. You could do that if it started showing weakness and got below the daily rotation zone. Luna Crypto. Oh no, it just trade on. Oh, it trades only on the crappy exchanges. Fantastic. Luna. Ooh. Luna. I'm still gonna look at those levels. Didn't trigger yet. You get a close below this low. Even with, I don't like it because of this but I'd still use these levels. Because we got the daily rotation zone right here. So the low from December 6th of 59,977. Close below there would not be good for it. Pretty big double top. And then you're looking at about 51.73, 47.44, and 43.30. That's the only key thing. If you're looking for upside areas to move up stops, about 66.60 to about 67 would be first resistance area. Then you're back to 75. There's not much else on there. Above there, if it did make another run, then you'd want to use this for your harmonics. Let me just see. Yeah, that's right there. So the most recent swing above 70.37, you're looking at 83.43 and 88.50. But I'd be very cautious to get a close below this 59, whatever it was, 59.97. Anything else? Anything else, anybody? Let's see. There we go. Yeah, Dave, that's the one thing. You know, I don't want to try to call a top in something, but once it starts showing weakness, then it's a different story. Otherwise, you're still going with the trend. So don't fight the trend unless it shows signs that it's starting to trigger breakdowns. And then that's when I will be willing to jump on something. Until then, I'm not going to, especially in options, I'm not going to do it because I could just burn through my theta, can eat me alive, especially in the last month. You know, your thetas, it kicks in more and more in the final month. And, you know, if it even drifts sideways, your puts are just losing money every day. And you're fighting something that's technically still in an uptrend. That's not a smart play in my book. If I want to trade something on the bear side, you trade something that's already breaking down. You go with that trend. Why is so much selling by the founder putting so much pressure on the stock? Because you also don't have a, first of all, it's incredibly highly valued. And I know you have people out there that saying, you know, 1,400 price target, 2,000 price target, this and that. It's got to perform across the board. And even it's still incredibly overvalued. So, and funds aren't, hedge funds, a lot of them aren't going to be buying it with Elon still selling. Why? Because, you know, you start breaking down from these key technical levels. It just had that massive run up with that insane vertical up move. And you're, uh, you don't have a lot of, you don't have a lot of, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. There's fewer and fewer big buyers up here. So you're mainly driven by the retail crowd. You don't have a lot of funds going to step in front of Elon's random selling. They're going to wait. It's gone on such a run so far that the risk is to the downside. So any selling pressure, and then you have the whole option thing that it causes these massive. I talked about that on Friday. You know, when you get gamma unwind, or Thursday, when you gamma wind up and gamma unwind. So there's just a lot of volatility. And when selling comes in, it just starts taking the stock lower. And Elon's selling, it's just, they just start dumping. And then nobody's going to stand in front of that. And then you get the options gamma unwinding. And, ugh. So, you know, you're welcome, Amit. I really thank you. Thank you. Uh, yeah, we'll see you later. Tesla 850. We start breaking. If we get that close in that massive double, I could see it even getting back into the upper 700s, possibly. But I need a trigger for that first. I don't have a trigger. And as long as it stays above this 1,000, I'm in just day bullish mode unless selling's coming in. And unless it gets above that, again, what was it, the Thursday or the Wednesday high that I showed you? There's just nothing to get strong bullish about. I'm still working. I will let you know. I don't have a time frame yet. It takes hours upon hours, and I do these. I'm in Discord during the day. I'm doing my own job, you know, and then I'm doing 2 live streams a day most days. So it just takes a lot of time, and I do need to sleep. So why don't I wrap up this for today? We've already gone. It's like close to an hour, and I was hoping to do it in 30 minutes, but you got it. You guys all joined me. All right, we're all prepared. We have our game plan. for next week. So with that, I will talk to everyone later. By the way, if you're just joining me or you're watching this on the rebroadcast, just to click the like button, ring the bell, and please consider subscribing. I think you will probably learn something about technical analysis and trading here. Talk to everyone. Hope everyone has a great week trading. Bye for now.